Now, there's been debate about depression, recession. I'm going to make it clear. The government will do anything to prevent people from panicking and causing more problems, which is a good thing in theory. Here's the thing. Keeping them misinformed and purposely misleading them to believe something that's not true, not only is that unjustifiable, but it's completely unethical on some form or level. So, recession. The state of the economy declines. Widespread decline in GDP. Okay? Gross domestic profit. And employment lasting 6 months to 1 year. So any decline in the GDP, economy, and employment for 6 months to 1 year only 1 year, that's a recession. 1 year max. So, recession, 1 year maximum. There's no such thing as a two-year recession. That does not exist. A recession, see, the economy moves in waves, okay? So, you have periods of, let's say this is your economy, right? It's a nice little wave, right? So, peak, you have a peak, that's the top point. And you have a trough, which is the bottom. So you have natural portions of this, right? This is your peak, this is your trough. So, I always think of it. So, when you're at a peak, these little top points, that's the economy's doing really well. When it hits here, these little things right here, it's called a trough. That's the low points. That's when we're losing money and things seem so horrible. So, people don't understand, but we go through natural mini recessions and stuff, and we always bounce back just fine. But if it lasts longer than that, it's no longer a recession. That's a little bit different than our normal business cycle, which we experience. It can be from a year to like 10 years, the little wavy thing. So, next I have the definition of a depression, which is, in economics, a depression, I started because that's the definition, is a sustained long downturn in one or more of the economies. So, housing, auto, technology's not doing well either. No one can really afford that. Clothes, people can't afford expensive clothes. It's kind of depressing. So yeah, this is a depression. Okay? So then I defined economics. It's a branch of social science that deals with production, distribution, and consumption of goods or services. So, that, my friends, can last from anywhere to after year to whenever it ends. There may not be a turning point in what happened in the Depression back in the 1940s. Was it lasted a good few years and we hit rock bottom. See, here's the thing. We're more advanced. We've got a lot more technology that it would never look the same, but it is the same. We are in a depression. So, I just felt that I wanted to kind of educate people who didn't know that we are in a depression. The government is taxing when it shouldn't. I mean, you could make less taxes and have the government try and use that bailout money to keep themselves running instead of borrowing, because basically China owns our banks by now. That's how much we've had to have stuff paid off. So instead of borrowing from China and, exterior people not directly involved with the U.S., instead of relying on them, we could use our own little bailout for the government ourselves, because we are the government, actually. We, the people, in order to form a more perfect union, do establish. Yeah, and what did we establish? A couple bylaws that I feel aren't really followed anymore. What was that again? We, the people, in order to form a more perfect union, do establish something about peace. There's promote tranquility and provide for the common defense and ensure, the safety of the people and so forth. Last time I checked, making us poor, taking our homes, and all of our money is not protecting us. So, granted, I don't know the exact words at the moment, but that was the basic gist of it, and I should because I had to memorize it at one point in my life. But at least now you understand exactly what it is. So, I know I've been talking for a while, but government should use that bailout money to keep paying off what they have to pay off, not tax the people as much, let people get back on their feet, because you know what happens with bailout money or money people get back in a tax return? They don't spend it. They use it to pay off debt. Because why? If you remember the flow chart, because that's where we are at. We're at debt first. As soon as we pay off debt, then we can go back to spending. But people don't want to spend when they know they have bills on the side. It's logical. You know, they're trying to make sure that they're not going to be effed over somehow. So, tax less, try and create more jobs, and I'm not saying let's all be a civil worker and have a civil army in the US, because that is not constitutional. And I mean, I can get into a whole bunch of other topics, you know, gun control, whatever the heck it is, but here's the thing. Gun control. Just really quick, just can barely touch on this. Their Second Amendment is to bear arms, not like bear arms, but like bear arms. Okay? That is to every citizen of the US is allowed to bear arms, to rise up and basically squash any tyranny that may arise. Now that's a little bit improvised, but basic principles there. Now, yeah, people are like, but guns kill people, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, just because someone has a gun doesn't mean they're going to commit a crime. Maybe they're going to prevent a crime. Maybe someone else is going to do something. Guns don't kill people. People kill people. If you don't have a gun, a person's going to get a chainsaw or a crowbar or a bottle or whatever is lying around and use that instead. Should we just ban all sorts of random objects? Should we be like a plane? You can only have plasticware. You can only have plastic cups. Because I don't think people can suffocate with those now. Here's your plastic fork. And we'll cut that for you because we can't give you a plastic knife anymore. We're afraid you might get a few little scratches. So yeah, explain to me how that makes any sense to anybody else. But if you allow people to carry weapons, not only does the government have to realize that, yeah, we actually have to listen to what the people want, we actually have to do what's important, because if they don't, well, then they're going to shoot us. Or they could. There's that threat. But if we don't and we're controlled, the government's just like, meh, to hell with it. Meh. I don't really feel like following that one. That one constitutional law, meh, it's not that important. To hell it's not. What is the country built on? These people are supposed to represent us. Our representatives are supposed to represent us. And our senators are not supposed to be like, well, I feel like this. No. You don't feel anything. You feel what your state wants you to feel, and then you represent. And then our president is supposed to represent our people, what we are as a group, you know, to other countries and to other places. Yeah, they're not doing so well in that area. I don't know if you've noticed. Maybe you're brainwashed by the media, and that's not your fault. But get educated. Go watch Glenn Beck. Go watch Fox News. Go watch CNN. I don't care. Fox, who says they're all fair and balanced, CNN, who says they're not. No one is targeting anyone. They're telling facts. If someone's targeting them, explain to me how it's targeting if you're explaining facts. It's not that you're omitting facts from another, from another group or organization. You're stating facts. Targeting someone would mean that you're making stuff up. They're not making anything up. If they were, they'd have no basis to report news on. Okay? News is based on real events and real facts that are verified. So if they're not verifiable, then they're not facts. And if they're not facts, they're opinions. And if they're opinions, they can have no basis or ground for any representation. And so no one is targeting anyone. So both networks need to get over themselves.